华人参政，任重道远；华人议政，势在必行。加油助力华人参政议政，是议政厅责无旁贷的责任。我是主持人杨毅。那么今天呢，我们非常高兴地邀请了一位老朋友。10年前，他已经参加了我们议政厅第1季的访谈节目。那个时候他是初出茅庐的政坛新人，而今天他已经是国会心理建设党团的创始人，加中立法协会的副主席，他就是我们的老朋友列治文山大家最熟悉的笑脸 Majid Jowhari. Hi Majid, welcome.
Hi Patrick, it's good to be here with you. Thank you for joining us at our campaign office and giving us an opportunity to be able to have another conversation. Right off the bat, I want to apologize. I'm recovering from a cold. Yeah. Therefore, my voice might be a bit coarse, but I'm going to do justice in making sure that I'll be able to answer your questions very well.
Yeah, it's like 10 years ago. Everything changed, right? At that time, you are younger, but I'm curious why your voice changed too. I know. Okay, thank you for take this interview with us. 10年前呢，你说你喜爱中国文化，那10年之后，那么你现在对中国文化是不是有更深的了解？是不是达到了你当时说的这些希望做到的事情？
And I'm also blessed to be in a riding that has a very, very large population of Chinese Canadian. Mm-hmm. So as you know, in Richmond Hill South, we have the benefit of having 33% of the riding Chinese Canadians. And in that, we have the opportunity to be able to connect with different sects within that community and work closer with them. Get to know about the art, get to know about the people, get to know about the food, get to know about what's concerning them, how they sell in Canada, how they're selling in Richmond Hill, and what are their wishes and what are their desires, and what are their concerns.
那么讲起来，我们都算是这个有亚裔背景。那么现在的社会上的确是有一些对亚裔的误解和偏见，您怎么看这件事情？而且我知道您在国会呢也是推动并支持这个立法，这个立法叫 Motion 63，就是反亚裔仇恨这样的一个立法啊。还有你准备了一个心理健康法的推动它去实行。那么你为什么要坚持这件事情？
Yes, and I think what we need to understand is that the community, the Chinese Canadian community, and for a broader term, the Asian community, unjustifiably was being labeled because of the COVID.
Yeah.
And that caused a lot of stress undue stress within the community, just because you were Asian or because you were Chinese, and you were put in a position to be able to defend something that you didn't have anything to do with.
Yeah.
And it was, it impacted people's businesses.
Yes.
It impacted people's relationship. It impacted how neighbors looked at each other. It impacted how our children were treated at school. It was impacted how our colleagues looked at us.
Yes.
And this was not called for because it didn't have anything to do with the Chinese Canadian. It didn't have anything to do our values, which is not aligned with that. And unfortunately, there were minorities that they tried to take advantage of that. And I'm glad that that motion was brought.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I was there to support it. And I talked about it every opportunity that I get. The leadership that actually the Chinese Canadian community showed, especially after having learned lesson from SARS, it really helped us. The leadership that the community took from providing PPEs, from educating their neighbors, and also following the protocol was exemplary, and we should not forget that.
没错。那么现在针对亚裔的话呢，有歧视。好在我们很高兴的就是说，在您和其他议员的推动下呢，我们通过了一个反亚裔的歧视法案啊。当然，我们还有很多工作。那么您也是有伊朗背景的，就是这样的一个少数族裔的国会议员。所以您认为，在国会里头，少数族裔的国会议员他的 意义何在？
That's a great question. First and foremost, I am the member of parliament for Richmond Hill.
Yeah.
My background and my heritage is Iranian and Persian, and I'm quite proud of it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that I represent a very diverse community. The diversity in Richmond Hill is around 54%. There are Chinese Canadians, there are Persians, there are Italians, there are Ukrainians, there are Russians, there are Koreans, and we have a very diverse community here. And my job is to make sure that I am accessible and I'm also resourceful to all the communities. And I act as a conduit to make sure that there's a two-way communication between them and our office. So my ethnicity brings me a unique understanding of a very specific culture, but that should actually help me to be able to also go above and beyond for connecting with other cultures and learning about what's unique about other cultures and how are they defined, what are their issues, what are their challenges.
Yes. So that's very, very important to understand each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. 那么这样，现在我想起来，10年前您刚参加我们采访的时候啊，那个时候中加的关系非常的友好，两个国家是好朋友。但10年之后呢，很多情况发生了改变，我们也不知道这个误解怎么一步一步走到今天这个情况啊，你怎么看这个问题？
That's a great question, actually. So, as you know, I am the current co-chair of Canada-China Legislative Association, which basically allows us to be able to have non-partisan conversation between the members of parliament from Canada and the members of the parliament from China. As part of the Canada-China Parliamentary Association, we have agreement to travel in an alternative years to China. I've had the privilege and pleasure of traveling to China.
Oh, you've been there?
I've been there 3 times.
3 times? Yeah.
3 times already, but I've been to many cities within China.
Okay.
And the first was 2017 and 18, and then I think we hit COVID. There was a pause. I was about to go to China as part of, again, Canada-China Legislative Association last month, but the election was called, so we have delayed it.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will get reelected, and we'll be able to continue, and we'll go for another bilateral relationship. Number one is, I think the more of these type of trips we have, both for parliamentarian, Chinese parliamentarian, and Canadian parliamentarian, to visit each other's country and to talk with Canadians and with Chinese people and Chinese organization and entities, we develop a much better understanding of the culture, of the politics, of the economy, of the aspiration, of the class, the different classes within each one of these countries. So what I've seen an amazing growth in technology, amazing growth in infrastructure projects. It looks like China is moving at the speed of light compared to some of the infrastructure projects that we do.
Yeah.
And I think we need to open up, and we need to look at our relationship both from cultural, education, economic, in a different lens.
所以在我的感觉里头，您是支持中加之间进行理性的沟通，因为现在中加之间有很多情绪化的东西，所以说很多人可能对中国有些误解，甚至感到一些恐慌，就是说中国的发展呢会有威胁论这些说法，你怎么看这个事情？
I'm always hopeful. I mean, hope is the base of everything.
Yeah.
Correct. I think there are great opportunities for us to be able to really work together And I hope this work continues at all levels, whether it's at the level of parliamentarian, whether it's at the level of Canadians taking the opportunity to travel to China and see China from through their own lens, feel the culture, feel the people. I hope governments start engaging more collaborative levels. And I think we need to make sure that we use all the organization that exists both in Canada and China to be that bridge builder rather than right now staying quiet and waiting for someone else to do things. I think each one of us need to do we need to take our own steps and don't wait for, let's say the other levels to do the work.
对，我觉得这个马议员讲的非常好啊，就是说一直怀抱希望，一直保持理性的沟通，一直希望我们的关系恢复到一个比较正常的状态。然后呢，与此同时呢，加拿大除了要跟中国有一些relationship 之外，我们不得不讲到，它更多的是跟美国有很多的依赖关系。所以你怎么看和加拿大和美国之间的关系？这种单边的依赖会不会有一些风险过大的问题？
Well, we've seen that the two countries actually benefit from a very close and very good working relationship. But we've also seen in Trump version 1 now has only become a neighbor. We're no longer a good friend, and our trades are being impacted
so
because
it's
of
not
this
partner
unjust.
anymore.
So it's not a partner anymore. So what do we have to do? As Prime Minister Carney indicated, we have to remove the interprovincial and territorial barriers and make Canada first and foremost one economy.
Yeah.
That'll save us about $200 billion, as I'm sure you've heard.
Yeah.
Now what we have to do, we have to diversify. We've constantly gone south, correct? Now what we have to do, we have to diversify east and west. So we have free trade agreement with England, we have free trade agreement with Europe. So we can expand and now become a stronger trading partner with those regions. We also have natural resources, and we have oil, gas, critical minerals that we should be able to, through key infrastructure project, get to the clear waters on both sides and be able to export it to the east as well as to the west. So this is a great opportunity for us to be able to become one economy. That's number one. Build that resilience that we need. Be able to make sure our critical natural resources can get to the coast.
All of the world.
And then we can start working with like-minded partners that they're willing to have, consider a win-win situation, rather than if it's not with me, you can't do it with anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we always say we don't put all the eggs in one basket, right? Yeah, and if we have a more relationship, we have more friend, then even one of them or some of us have broken, we still be able to keep the relationship.
So this is an example that we use in the Persian culture, saying that if you're going into a deep well, it is best that you go with 100 ropes rather than one big rope, because if that big rope gets cut, then you're stuck at the bottom.
You're still safe.
But if you are going with 100 ropes and one or two of those ropes get cut, you still have another many ropes to be able to climb up or go down safely.
对，这个就是一种多边外交的一个好处啊，单边依赖和多边外交这个差别还是蛮大的。好，那么我们提到了这个，特别是提到了美国的关系，我们避不开就是一个经济的问题。就是说呢，现在很多人感觉好像经济不如从前了啊，不知道这个感觉是真的经济不如从前了，还是只是一种感觉
？Well, life is getting harder. There's no question about it.
Okay.
The cost of food has gone up.
Yes.
The cost of living has gone up.
Yes.
The cost of housing has gone up.
Yeah.
We're dealing with high inflation a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The inflation is now down to 2.3. Interest rates were high. Okay, therefore, by default, your mortgage payments was
become
much higher.
Expensive everywhere.
Everything became expensive. This was because a number of things happened. First of all, COVID had a huge impact because the economy of the world shut down.
Yes,
And therefore, the whole supply chain that was very intertwined.
Oh, yeah.
And it was operating very efficiently, stopped.
Yeah, that years I remember still.
Now, also the government had to back people to make sure that they can sustain through this.
Yeah.
So there were expenditure. Okay? And that expenditure, although got people through, helped businesses to be able to recover fast. So after the COVID, we're the first economy in G7 that recovered the fastest.
Oh, yes.
We recovered the most job. If you look at our debt to GDP ratio, is the lowest among G7s. Okay? So what happened then, we had a war. There was a war between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that it also had impact on many things.
Yes.
On energy,
Yes.
Supply to Europe, and it also destabilized the whole trade situation and the whole political landscape. Therefore, that uncertainty caused more risk, and that causes more, that risk translated into higher costs. And then we get into other conflicts in Middle East that impacts the cost of fuel and the cost. And then we also got hit with a number of climate change disasters, whether there's a flood, whether there was a lack of water. Most of the food that was coming down south, especially California, because of the drought, and we had to pay a much higher price.
Yes.
So this is not something that was unique to Canada. It was not a Canada or a government initiated or Canadian initiated phenomenon.
这个在全球经济恶化的前提下，加拿大也很难独善其身。COVID、俄乌战争、中东的冲突还有一些天灾自然灾害等等等等，在 G7里头，加拿大的经济还算好的，所以大家感觉经济变差了，这是事实。但是这不仅仅是加拿大一个国家的问题，所以面对这个事实，更关键的是，如果这一届政府当选了之后会怎么做？这才是我们要解决的重点。
First, we become one within, then we become one going east and west.
对。
Okay. Now that has happened, we are going to invest in a lot of skill sets. Okay. Then we are going to invest in key sectors,
like
industry sectors. For example, AI.
Yeah,
exactly. So we're going to also invest in technologies that captures carbon at the source.
Yes.
Because that helps us to be able to extract oil and gas in a very clean way and be able to ship it across.
So we have a plan to invest on those.
We're providing incentives in there. Now what we want to do is also make sure that we provide incentives for transition of the skills of those individuals who, because of all of these trade unbalance, have lost their job and they need to be able to find a new skill and new job. So we are providing funding for new skill sets, and we are providing funding for transfer of those skill sets to the new skill sets.
Nowadays it's not like before. Before you have one skill and for the whole life. Now you have to have a different career.
The world has changed. So we are trying to support that. Also, we are forming partnership. The partnership is with industry and with the different sectors to be able to help expedite bringing in the new skill, shortening the length of time that's needed to have, let's say, a trade person trained. So we are providing incentive for those who wants to go to trade. We're working with the unions and with the industry to provide programs and incentives for them to help train these individuals And we are also putting projects in place that uses those skill sets.
Oh.
Therefore, your economy, now that's one, it's going to start turning. Why? Because you put up infrastructure projects. The infrastructure project uses the skill sets that needed. Where do we get the skill set? We grow it, or we transfer it, or we bring it to strategic immigration policies.
就是政府会提供很多的支持在这方面。对，另外呢，还有一点我觉得还蛮重要的，就是说这个到目前为止只是一些想法，怎么样把它变成现实，有没有可操作性？是不是有合适的人才能够把我们刚才这些美好的设想一一落实？
Canada to the world, it's by default nation building projects. This is where all the talents, all the skills from all ethnicities, from all cultures, it'll come together. And we build the resilient, the united Canada that we need. And as you know, Prime Minister Carney said, if US does not want to lead, we will lead. And I'm certain that with the level of skill sets that we have, with the passion, the patriotism that we have, we will succeed. But it will going to be some challenges. But you know what? In our culture, challenge is always part of life. We are newcomers to Canada, compared to the ones who were here before us 200 years ago.
所以我们一直面对挑战，这就是我们加拿大的精神之一嘛。所以我们不惧怕挑战，我们面对挑战，我们会奋勇向前。好，我们刚才讲到的是一些国际的经济形势，加拿大的整体的经济形势。我们还是回到您的选区，因为您作为国会议员在这儿已经是差不多10年了啊，看看您给这个选区和社区带来了些什么。
Well, my report card is there.
Okay.
I'm sure, and I'll pass it on to you. You could put it. We've been very successful around 3 different axes. Number one, we've been very resourceful. We've been accessible, and we've been responsive. So, resourceful, as you know, our office, through amazing people that we work with, managed to be able to secure nearly $300 million over the last 10 years. The report by each one of the terms that I have served is there, and it's always gone up. We're responsive because we've responded to a lot of correspondences. We've also attended many different events. We've made sure that we have 6 community councils by which and through which we hear on a weekly basis from the constituents across Richmond Hill around what are their concerns in public safety, in small businesses, in environment, in health, in seniors. These are the different community councils that gives me the opportunity to be able to hear. So that is being accessible. We set up Zoom meetings, and we are hoping that we continue doing the work that we've been doing for the last 10 years, and now focusing on building within Richmond Hill the same resilience and the same advancement that we see across Canada within Richmond Hill. So let's make Richmond Hill South a microcosm of the broader, united, integrated, empowered.
那么如果有选民来问您说 ，Majid， 接下来你会为我们争取什么？你会怎么回答？
Well, the next is I will continue listen.
Yeah.
I will continue to understand. I will continue to advocate. I will do my best to be able to ensure that the vision that we have for Canada is understood by everyone, and also make sure that we continue getting your feedback to Ottawa, okay? And bringing key industries and key opportunities for jobs into Richmond Hill, and bringing the technologies to be able to make sure that we improve cost of living, improve the affordability.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have affordable residential units for my son. And I don't want my son to move 100 kilometers away from me.
Yeah.
I am going to advocate for better life for every Canadian, every Richmond Hillian, especially the youth. Because I don't want to see my son or my daughter move away. Also, I don't want to see your son move away. He's just finishing, I believe, first year of university. And he's coming back, and he's got 3 years to go.
Yeah.
I want to make sure Richmond Hill has an opportunity for him to find a job here.
Yes. I like him come back home.
Yeah, I like it. Yes, I know. And I want to make sure that he be able to afford a house or an apartment close by, so be able to stay connected.
Yes.
I want him prosper, to be happy, to enjoy a quality of life.
Yes.
So we have put, over the last 10 years, we put the building blocks of everything that we need to do. Now we need to make sure that we continue advocating, but in a very strategic way. Okay? Which is focus on economy, is focus on our youth, focus on supporting our seniors, supporting our family.
那么这也是我们来到加拿大的一个主要原因。我们来到这个美丽的国家，就是要想让自己的生活过得更好。所以我们也希望呢，这个 Majid 能够如果有机会继续为我们的选民发声的时候呢，给我们带来更好的生活。讲起来我今天跟您做访谈的时候，有一种昔日重来的感觉，因为10年前我们做过这个访谈当时也没有想到10年之后我们还会坐到一起假如我们设想一下，10年之后我们再次坐到一起来进行一个类似的访谈，那个时候是什么你最想聊的？那个时候你觉得你会是什么样子？
Well, first of all, I hope I'll be retired by then. I hope that I have more grandchildren, because I'm really enjoying our first grandchild, which is 14 months old. But joking aside, I hope in the next 4 years, I love to think about the next 10 years, but I'm more concerned about the next 4 years.
Focus on next 4 years.
Focus on next 4 years, especially because of our neighbor down south, okay, which is no longer a friend, which is no longer a trading partner, which is impacting everybody's life.
Yeah, and the whole world.
So where I want to be, I want to be part of a united, secure, independent Canada. As a Richmond Hillian who has thrived and has seized the opportunity that were presented and persevered through the challenges. So in 10 years, I want us to be a leader in the world. I want us to be not any longer a middle power. I want us to be a first-class power in many aspects. We might not be there militarily, but we might be there as a joint, united world.
特别好，我觉得您10年之后想说的东西，也说出了很多我们加拿大人的心声。我们希望是一个独立的、有尊严的、强大的加拿大。再次的非常感谢您今天接受我们的采访，让我们更多的了解您过去10年的经历，让我们更好的理解了您的理想和追求。那么也希望您这次呢选举顺利希望有更多的机会服务我们加拿大人，服务我们列治文山的选民们。谢谢。Thank you very much to have the interview with us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. It's amazing how 10 years go by so quickly.